And then the kids are leaving the school. They don't know how to deal with all the issues. It's like for us, like we are grown as men, and it's like, we know how to like be emotionally attached. We know that we have to listen to the other perspective from the outside angle so they can tell us and we can choose and pick which one is the most important.
I'm creating thousands of employees a year. That's a form of charity to me. And so I'm literally addicted. My addiction is entrepreneurial, is angel investing. That's my addiction.
We are strong as a man, but the stronger we are, the more vulnerable we are, and we have both energy. So we know how to deal, how to communicate with the kids, with the employees, with wives, with people that love us.
You don't know who you're gonna like until you go down the rabbit hole. And then you're gonna also be able to see the results. Right? There's a big difference between talking about it and being about it. Plenty of people can talk about an Ironman competition. Not that many that have a wall like you do of trophies, right? Very big difference. I know that every single day, if you take action, you're not necessarily gonna get money for it. You're planting seeds for the future.
Welcome to Mastering the Inner World and Outer World podcast. Today we have Dan Fleyshman, my dear friend of mine. He is a part of I'm part of the same group that we are, Zenith Group, with Dean and Tony. And he's got a lot of titles, brother. You're entrepreneur, the youngest entrepreneur that take company public, philanthropist. You have a lot of movements, the toy drive. I mean, I can just spend an hour just talking about all your achievements, and we all want to hear it. But I'm so excited, guys, because this is a person that inspires me. This is a person that his mission is to serve others. He put himself, I'm pretty sure, not first. He's here on this earth to have a mission to not only help men, but women, kids, and everybody else. And I'm just watching his journey. I'm so fulfilled. And I just want to say thank you for everything you do.
It's an honor.
Because, I know you're going to be humble, but don't be humble here. So then how does the whole thing started? Like because it's a lot of people, a lot of successful people went through so much shit during the childhood.
Yeah.
I personally did. So how did it happen? Like where did the drive come? Where did this the serving? Because it took me years to realize that I was born to this earth to serve,
Yep.
and not be entitled to anything.
So, if you throw someone in the pool, they gotta swim or die. Mm-hmm. That's how I felt. And I still feel that way now.
Okay.
We moved here from Riga, Latvia. I was 6 months old, lived 8 years in Long Beach, and then my parents got divorced. My older brother stayed with my dad. My mom and I moved to San Diego. We were living in this 90-year-old lady's extra room, me and my mom. And so we didn't have much money. And so I started selling candy at school to save up money. And as soon as I got to middle school, high school, selling candy in cereal boxes. And as soon as I was allowed to work, I had 3 jobs at the same time.
How old were you?
15. And I was saving up money. And so the next 3 years, I saved up $43,000 over the course of 3 years, making 10, 15 grand a year. And then, boom, it's time to go to college. And everything changed because I had trademarked the catchphrase, "Who's your daddy?" Like the slogan.
Yes.
Who's your daddy? And so I started making T-shirts, printing "Who's your daddy" on it. Sold $1,500 of T-shirts. I'm like, oh, I'm a millionaire. This is amazing.
Yes.
And the rest was history. I went to the clothing convention. We did $1 million in sales at our first show, 9.5 million on year 2 with starter apparel in Europe. Took it public when I was 23 and, got into 55,000 stores.
When did it change? You start serving, you start doing the toys drive,
Yeah.
and now I'm a huge the last movement that you did, the Manila Arena, is huge for me. But let's talk about the toy drive. At what moment you claim the mountains and it's like, hey, you know what? It's not about me anymore.
Yep.
And the beginning is the ego, we want to do something to get the validation.
Yep.
How did that happen?
So after the clothing line Energy Drink, I started an online poker site. And I started throwing poker tournaments to raise money for charity. But I kept raising 50 grand, 150 grand, 82 grand, random numbers, give it to charity, and then Monday becomes Wednesday, Wednesday becomes Friday. And I never really saw what would happen with the money. So I wanted my own charity. So I made a Model Citizen Fund. Model Citizen Fund is backpacks for the homeless. Mm-hmm. I did that for years, and I still do it, 15, 16 years later. But then I met this guy named Vince Ritchie, and he had what's called Trina's Kids Foundation. And that's our 12th year. And so our first toy drive was 8 of us, 8 volunteers on the floor wrapping toys.
And how did it come out? Why toy drives? Why toys?
It was we have 4 charity events a year, but that one took off. Uh-huh. So we do a back to school day. We have kids show up and bring us, and we give them backpacks and haircuts and give them supplies. We have report card day, where we give them laptops and iPads and prizes based on their report cards. We have Thanksgiving food drive, which is actually kind of hard to scale because it's only so many people can come at an exact certain time for the food to be hot and for them to take it with them. So we keep that 300 to 1,000 people. But the toy drive is very scalable. And so it went from 8 people to 20, 20 volunteers to 60, 60 volunteers to hundreds, to all of a sudden there's like 400, 500 families showing up. And we would raise so many toys we were giving to other charities. And then we did it at a bigger venue, and then boom, 3 years ago, we break the record, the Guinness Book World Record for the largest toy drive in the world. That was year 9. And we did it at the SoFi Stadium, 118,000 toys, right?
Jeez.
But wait, now it's the 10-year anniversary.
Yes.
And so I get the crazy idea, let's go to 10 cities for our 10-year anniversary. So 10 cities, 17 days, hundreds of thousands of toys.
So now you're breaking your own records with
And
helping
now
others.
I'm like, oh shoot. So then I did 11 cities last year. On the 11th year, we did 11 cities. And so now it's just trying to break different records. We did most toys in 1 hour. But now I'm just addicted. I will be doing it as long as I can fly. I'll be doing these toy drives. And even if I can't fly and I'm in a wheelchair, I'll still be doing toy drives if I have to roll there. Like once you see those kids' reactions getting toys, and I didn't have toys when I was growing up. I still remember the few toys I had. It was like the Hulk Hogan where you put your thumb in his back. I had that Hulk Hogan rubber doll that stuck in my head. And maybe I had like one truck, like a little fire truck. I don't remember any other toys from childhood because $3, $5 was expensive. We didn't have the money. And so toy drive just became my addiction. Like I'm obsessed with it. I think about it all the time. I do my one-on-one coaching and I make them wire to my toy drive. You don't even wire to me. And I have to spend a lot of time with all these coaching clients, but I know that I'm going to be able to raise an extra $2 million a year for my toy drive. And so now those last couple of years, I'm like, what can I do to get funding for the toy drive outside of me putting in a lot of money every single year, which I'm still going to always do? What can I do to just make it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger? And so now I'm trying to partner with bigger foundations and bigger venues. And now we're trying to do SoFi Stadium again. And we did Miami Heat Arena in December.
Yeah, yes.
I got the Boston Arena now. They said yes. Mm-hmm. So I'm just trying to make it bigger and bigger and bigger because ultimately I want people to copy me. I want it to be so big they have no idea it's me. I want them to go do their own toy drives in every country in the world. You know, I want to just make toy drives a real thing because it changes kids' lives. It changes their memories.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that. You said something very interesting. You said that that's your addiction. Mm-hmm. Were you ever have bad addictions?
So the only addiction I have is gambling, but I'm really good at it. So I made sure that I got obsessed with getting really good at it so that it wasn't like a big leak in my life. And what I say by that is, I don't mean gambling against casinos. You can't beat casinos long term.
But you can beat poker because you play the other players. Exactly. You don't play the game.
Exactly. And so I will play gambling against casinos, but not big. But against humans, I play as much as you want, right? Because I became ultra focused on becoming really good. Most people are good by ego. I always say poker players think of themselves just like sex. They think they're the best in the world, and they have no clue what they're doing. And the same thing applies to poker players. They think they're the best in the world, and they really don't have any idea what they're doing. And the reason for it is they won't read a book. They won't ask for advice. They won't listen to people that are better than them. They won't watch videos. I do all of that.
Guys, he just give you a shortcut how to be successful. Mm-hmm. And he's not talking about poker. Whoever is listening, because we have a lot of young followers and viewers. So you're just giving a shortcut. Mm-hmm. Like this is exactly, like be a sponge. Just educate yourself.
Non-stop. Even to this day, I've played millions of hands of poker. I'm still studying right now. I'm watching videos, I'm watching highlights, I'm studying, I'm listening to the greatest players, I'm reviewing hands, I'm asking my pro poker player friends, what do you think about this hand? Should I bet this much? You know why? Because every decision matters in poker. If we're playing poker, you can beat the best poker player in the world for one hand, 1 hour, but not for 10 hours. It's not possible. Not for 10 days. You literally have no chance. The reason that the best poker players in the world have 5, 6, 7, 8 poker bracelets, because it's a skill game. You can't say that about any other casino game. And so that's my one vice is poker. But in order to fix that so I don't have this big leak in my life, I just became obsessed with being good at it.
Okay. I got a question because it's like Chad, Chad, our brother from Zen, is like, I think Jarek, I'm the first one guy on this podcast because everybody goes through some kind of like a drugs or alcohol. And I know you also never touched drugs or alcohol.
Never.
Why?
One, I'm afraid I'd like it.
Big well, you already admitted that you're an addict.
Yeah. I'm afraid I'd like it. I have way too much access to it because we have a lot of friends that, there's a lot of drugs and alcohol around all the time. And I've watched it kill people, right? I've had 39 friends die. And I have the number in my head because I have the list on my phone. And so I've had 39 friends die under the age of 50, mostly under the age of 40. Professional athletes, business friends, casual friends, really close friends from school, my roommate, like people that are very close to me, dead. Whether they died from overdose, car accident, a situation, things like that. And so I take it very seriously knowing what it can happen from drugs. And it's not to say that all drugs are bad or every single thing is bad. I don't really think marijuana is bad at all. Personally, I think it's a medicine if you use it correctly. But some of those hard drugs literally have killed my friends and family. And so to me, you can say, hey, Dan, here's $10 million. Come on, let's have one good night of, it's not possible. I literally couldn't do it. It's not physically possible for me to do it. And I couldn't consume it because my brain, just even saying that, I got very tense because I know what's happened to friends that have passed away.
Why are you carrying them in the phone? Like, why do you have the list in the phone? Like,
I don't want to forget. I feel bad. Like, I've had moments where I really literally want to text someone and they're dead. And so to me, it's like it's a constant memory. And I actually look at it, I don't say pretty often, but pretty often. I'm not looking at it to like make myself resent myself or make myself upset about it. But it's really the driving force. Like you asked me earlier, how'd you do 6 podcasts and then drive over here to visit me and blah, blah, blah?
You did 7, dude. You got to dude, we got to do that. He did 7 podcasts today. That's his 7th podcast, guys. And he came all energized and look at this. It's like, he's here, he's present. And it's like, it's a skill, but it's something that you were not born. This is something that's a grind every single day.
So to be blunt, I do so much because I might die tonight. I've had so many people die that are young that should still be here that I don't know if it's tonight, next week, next month, next year, 100 years. I don't know how long I'm going to live. So I want to do as much as humanly possible. It's the same reason I joked with you earlier. You couldn't pay me to sit on the beach. I don't want to sit on the beach. That's not life to me. I want to take as much action as possible. And my entrepreneurial stuff is like charity to me. If you and I throw in 100K into a business, and they go from 2 employees to 8 employees, well, we created 6 new salaries for people. That helps their family, their kids, their community. So to me, I'm investing in companies every single month, and I'm creating thousands of employees a year. That's a form of charity to me. And so I'm literally addicted. My addiction is entrepreneurial, is angel investing. That's my addiction.
How do you control it? Then we're going to talk about your kid and your wife or your girlfriend.
Controlling the addiction is using it for good. Like when I talk about poker, I use it for good.
I love it.
Like my addiction to work morning, noon, and night, I use it for good.
Okay.
And it's very easy to use things for bad, right? It's very easy to use things for yourself and for your own ego and for your own things like that. I try to use it for good. And so as long as I do that, I'm okay with it. And if, by the way, if at some point something was bad, like if I was playing poker and I lost 20 times in a row, I would stop or I would fix it, right? Because now it's hurting my life, hurting financially, hurting my family, and things like that. But if I'm doing it and I'm doing my best at learning it and practicing and getting good at it, then I'm using it for good.
I'm going to use it because I also play poker. I'm not as professional as you are. So, and it's funny, you did say it, the brain health and all the stuff, but also when you go on tilt,
yes,
that's when the ego comes in and you want to get back, and then you take more risk, and then you forget. When I tell people in poker, you have to be disciplined. I also done like a day trading.
Yep.
And I was telling people, like, it's the best, it's amazing, but you have to be disciplined.
For sure.
They have no idea what I'm talking about until they get in. It's like, because you said you're going to do this, and then you validate in your brain, because of this, so this time's going to be different.
Right.
And then it's like, no, it happened 9 times. Counting probability, that's what we're good.
Yes.
We're counting the numbers, and that's what the entrepreneurial skills that we have, we both carry. And
so I've actually never been on tilt.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, how do you, like, you would never have been on tilt.
I've lost some of the craziest hands. I'm sure you have as well. I've lost it for an obscene amount of money in multiple situations. I've lost it in my own living room where it's like, I got to smile and be the host, even though I just lost a huge amount of money. I have never been on tilt. I know going in that I'm going to lose certain hands. I know going in that bad things can happen. I know that no hand is, there's ways to lose every hand, right?
Okay, I'm going to go deeper then.
And
so you've never been on tilt, right?
No.
So what you telling me that even in the business you never been on tilt?
I get frustrated with humans, not with the fact that they did what they did. It's that I knew they were going to do it. And so
Then you frustrated with the humans, or you frustrated with you that you have the right?
that I allowed the situation to happen. I need to figure out how I can fix it so that they can't hurt me, or they can't hurt my business, or they can't hurt the employees, or hurt the vendors, or hurt the clients, or hurt the shipping, whatever the part that they did. And so I take full responsibility. I know that humans are going to mess up, so I don't get mad. I try to fix it. I know that people are going to be late or lazy. I know those things are going to happen. And so if I let that control my emotions, well, I'm dealing with a dozen different companies at a time, or 100 different situations in a day, just like you are. We're firefighters. If I allowed them to make me emotionally unstable, I understand why a lot of people would go to drugs and alcohol. I understand why a lot of people jump off buildings. I really do.
It's sedating the pain.
Yes.
It's what happened is like I was sedating with work, and then with workout, we just talk about it. And until you hit it sober, I didn't know how to deal with that. And then we become the victim very quickly. We don't take the full accountability.
Right.
But how do you take, because here what happened, you just said that you understand of people jumping off the cliff and jumping out of the buildings. I did have a building. It was in the title company that I was going to take my own life. And I was like, I was too lazy because I got too much work. I got to go to the title company, go to the roof, and blah, blah, blah. But but you know how you go to the rabbit hole, and how do you, like you said, you do understand. So how, because what happened is, like, let me phrase the question. So I just want to go deeper a little bit on that. So we take all the accountability. We own the shit, right? And that's I think that's our biggest skill. So like a superpower, being accountable for it. But because all the accountability that we take, how do we, because we take so much shit on us, because how come I missed this? How come I projected, like I anticipated, but yet it happened. How do you deal with that? So you don't go,
Off the deep end?
You know what I mean?
I know that things are going to get messed up. And I know that every time I wake up in the morning, my phone is going to have problem situations. Send me money. I can't afford this. I need this vendor shipped. This one's late. This person didn't pay. This lawyer's suing this person. This person's suing them. Hey, these employees got into a fight. Hey, these employees are having sex. What are you going to do about it? Hey, this one cheated on me. Hey, I got another lawsuit. Like, I know that's going to happen every morning. And so if that was to bother me, I would stop being a business person, because I know what's going to happen every single morning. There's not one morning, even on Sundays, that I don't wake up and there's chaos and fires and situations. And my job is to stay calm and focused. I'll give you a quick example. Let's say all of us are on an airplane, and there's a little bit of turbulence. And up front, the pilot goes, "Oh my God!" He starts screaming. What are we going to do as passengers? We're going to freak out. But if you hear, ding, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be facing some turbulence up ahead, we're going to stay calm, right? We might be a little bit concerned that there's bumps, but we will stay calm. And so I'm the pilot. If I freak out because someone has a situation, what's going to happen to them and all the employees and the vendors and clients? They're all going to freak out, because the captain's freaking out. And so I just call it, I stay calm in the chaos.
How do you stay calm in the chaos? Because you still got to process your own thoughts, your own feelings, and you still, like, listen, I always tell people, dude, if like somebody opened a business on dating business like a year, it's like, oh, I got lawsuits. I'm like, dude, if you don't get like 100 lawsuits, I have more lawsuits one day than just a year of days of the year. So I have more than 353 lawsuits a year. Yeah. So I was like, if you don't get lawsuits, it means you're not successful. Right. That's it. That's what it is. So I'm completely numb to it. Yep. But how do you deal with it? I mean, come on, brother. You gotta have fucking trigger points. You gotta like deal this shit. And how do you?
Well, my trigger point is inefficiency. When someone is inefficient, it makes me upset. Okay. That bothers me because that's controllable. That's based on their decisions or their laziness.
So this is for me. That's not for you guys. So I stay away from operations because I want to people. I cannot be like I want to keep everybody accountable, and I want people accountable to my standard. Yep. And I don't know how to operate my business. I have a vision, and then you guys got to jump on the wagon and figure out how to do it. So that's why, literally, like 15 years ago, my team is to kick me out of the office. Yeah. Like, do not come here. Right. Because you come in, you drop it like atomic bomb, and then we got to figure out how to do everything, and then you just disappear, and then we go back to our normal things. Right. How do you deal with yourself? Because, because I'm not gonna, like I was just telling Sam, yesterday I have a really horrible day. Like literally, like everything could go wrong. Like, I couldn't, like no, I can't get another bad call.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which, I'm numb to it. You know what I mean? Like I really
Yep.
I'm numb to it. But at some point I start questioning myself, brother. Like, dude, I mean, you gotta care. I mean, I do care. Don't take me wrong.
Sure.
But it's like, why the shit is not hitting me? And then as my self sabotage comes, the self critic, the inner voice. How do you like process? Like, I mean, we humans, right? So we still have. I mean, I still cannot believe it. I'm gonna challenge you. You never went on tilt playing poker. I'm like,
You can watch it on TV.
I gotta believe you.
There was a famous ESPN. I was at the final table of the World Series of Poker, the main event in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the only time they did an instant replay in poker history because of the guy doing a cheating move against me. And it took me from chip leader to basically out. I was out a few minutes later. And you see me just calmly look at them, play my next hand, I lose, I get up, and I walk out. And that was for...
How did you do it behind the closed doors?
Same thing. I still talk about it, I still think about it. I disliked the fact that I didn't win that tournament because I was the chip leader and I had it all set up, right? I knew everything about them. I was calling their hands before they flipped it over on TV. Like, I had it dialed in. And that one movement, that one motion, that one situation, I went from 2 million chips to 300,000 chips to gone in seconds. And so I dislike it because I had control of my situation. But there's nothing I can change about the moment. So if I was, for the last 5, 10, 15 years, always ranting and raving about, I could have been the champion, I could have had this, I could have had that, what is that going to change? The moment happened. And so I see this happen every single day of my life. I'm playing the World Series of Poker in business, and people screw up, and people are late, and people don't answer their phone, people don't show up at the convention, people miss the call, people don't get onto the Zoom call, and they lose the sale. I know humans suck. And so in my mind, I also know that from the sheer math perspective, if I had emotions of everything that happens in my day, I would jump.
We talked before the podcast outside about that, it's easy to be successful in life if you are, we are emotionally unattached to money and to the outcome. The only thing we are attached to, we're responsible for ourselves and, the game of life and keep ourselves accountable. But I personally struggle because, I keep myself to the highest standards. Like I don't cheat on myself. I don't break any promises that I do when I say. And sometimes I'm very harsh on myself. And that's what I got when I end up, 4 years ago. So how do you recharge every day? Like what's your like routines? Like how do you do it to feed your mind, feed your soul? And what do you do on like a daily basis? So, I mean, to be able to do freaking 7 podcasts, like guys, whoever is listening, like bullshit, it's like this shit easy, we everything we do, it's we love to what to do, but it is draining, what I mean, to being present for, in the businesses with the wife, with the kids, in the podcast, at work, with, with all the businesses and everything you do, and then be present like with yourself. It's freaking work. Yeah. And I know we don't think it's a work. I know, sure. But because we bullshit ourselves. Yeah. But how do you deal with it? Like how Dan Fleyshman recharge?
I'm consuming a lot of content. I'm talking to a lot of people, and I'm seeing the things that I did or the things that I'm working on, I see it changing lives, or I see it executing something, or I see it like the plans that I have are happening, or if they don't happen, or if something goes wrong. And so I'm self-analyzing all the time. I'm talking to the people that are in my circle all the time. I'm talking to my CEO, the girl that runs my company, my best friend. I'm talking to these people that are part of my world. And those are my breaks where I'm really getting to hear from their perspective, my world. What you were talking about outside, I wanted to say a line to you. You can't see the picture when you're inside of the frame. The reason that people can tell you everything is because they're outside, they're watching us. We are in our own heads, right? You can't see the picture when you're inside the frame. And so whenever I can, I'm calling my mom, my CEO, my best friend, my main characters that run the company, and they're telling me what they're hearing. They're telling me what they're seeing. They're telling me what I'm doing, what they're doing, what's going on. And that to me is exciting, right? But then if you talk about like the girlfriend or the baby or those like personal live people, they don't care about the business. They care about time and focus and attention and toys and life and travel. Like that's their world.
Yeah.
And everyone has their own world and their own vision of me too. Some people look at me as their boss. Some people look at me as their partner. Some people look at me as their daddy. Like, so they look at me for different reasons.
You inspire shit out of me, brother.
Thank you.
So just so you know, like I want to be everything you do. Like, you know, I watch you like a hog, and you inspire shit out of me.
Thank you.
Which we're gonna talk about the men in arena, but
Sure.
I'll let you finish about the recharge.
So people recharge me. Action recharges me. Watching things recharge me. And I wake up excited, even though I know I'm going to wake up to fires, and I'm the firefighter. I literally wake up, and I know when I open my phone, and you know, certain people like Jim Quick tell us don't look at our phone. I'm not wired like him. He's an amazing. I look up to him because I wish I could do that. Maybe one day in life I will. But right now, when I want to be a firefighter and I want to save the world, I'm going to look at my phone in the morning.
Okay. so that's the first thing you do? You look at the phone?
Oh, I'm in it.
Really?
Oh yeah, dive right in.
I do the prayer and before, but the reason I touch my phone to just put the meditation, put the music and because, you know, before, you know, I don't want to wake up.
Your way is better, by the way.
Okay, I'm not
I
saying.
want to be very clear. I'm saying it.
it.
Your way is much better.
Yeah.
No, I don't. When I talk about the way I act, the way I do, me being numb to death, business, failure, situations, that is not for everyone. That is not for 99.99999% of people. Not to say that I'm great, just because I don't want to say fucked up, but because I'm wired that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I tell people, you're not built like this. You're not supposed to run a bunch of companies or run a bunch of events, run a bunch of arena tours, run 11 city toy drive. I'm not expecting people to do that, and I'm not doing it for a pat in the back. I'm doing it because I'm wired like that, and I have to do it before I die. And I need to get it out. I need to do as much as I can because I know it's possible. I know fixing homelessness is possible. I know curing hunger is possible because it's a function of efficiency, and our government's very inefficient. And so I know we can fix homelessness, and I know we can fix food. And so I want to get as rich as humanly possible to do that, not to buy stuff. I had the same watch for 17 years. I don't buy cars. I don't buy stuff. I want to fix this world, and I want to do it as fast as I can before I die.
Thank you, brother. So if anybody listen, that's why I'm so inspired by this motherfucker. I just love him. It's just like, holy shit, brother. Dude, you know, like I'm listening to it, I just get goosebumps.
Thank
like
you.
Seriously. Like that's a kind of, you have a small goals, brother.
Thanks.
Kind of like a small goal. It's just like I want to change the world. I love
It's
you, bro.
fixable.
Okay.
I'm dead serious. You can put, the 15 lie detector test on me every single day for the rest of my life. I know without a shadow of a doubt that I can fix homelessness.
So I'm gonna
not from ego, from efficiency.
Exactly. My vision, you know, because, you know, I almost took my life. Like June is, you know, mental awareness month, and, you know, 4 years ago I almost took my own life, and I had everything, and by the rules of society, but I was empty inside. So this is my vision. This is my mission. You know what I mean? And I know it's possible because, you know, we have, you know, millions of depressions. We have like, you know, hundreds, 720,000 suicides every single year. And I know that can be, so, you know, we can change that. We got to bring the awareness to it. Like my big movement, it's not only the mental awareness march in March, but it's also like even the education, changing the education. Because in schools, we have all the same stuff, like from the, you know, from last 200 years. Yeah. But the schools, even with, now you have a, you know, kid, I have 5 kids, it's just teaching the emotional intelligence, you know, the mental, like you have a physical education, you don't have a mental education. And then the kids are leaving the school, they don't know how to deal with all the issues. Sure. You know, it's like for us, like we are grown as men, and it's like, you know, we know how to like be unemotionally attached. We know that we have to listen to the other perspective from the outside angle so they can tell us, and we can choose and pick which one is the most important. So how would you bring the awareness to the emotional intelligence? You know, I know Jim, you know, our friend Jim Quick does it, you know, I do it. Now you do with the men, with the men with men in the arena, which I do want to get to that deeply. How would you bring the awareness of the mental health? Because like I still like, you know, even with my own kids, when they have to go into therapy, I have to tell them it's a mental coach. Right. Like, you know, you have a soccer coach, you have a basketball coach, you have a teacher. It's a mental coach, because you said like you go to therapy, it's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Mm-hmm. And the grown ass man, they don't want to go. They take their own lives, and they just, they leave the family, the kids alone. So it's a like homelessness is a huge. The food is a huge issue, but the suicide and the mental awareness is how would you how do you see the problem? How do we bring the awareness to these issues?
We're finally coming to a place where people can talk about it more, right? Where people are actually talking about mental health the last few years. People are talking about the fact that men are hurting the last few years. Men can actually cry, and it's not as socially unacceptable as it was before. 5 years ago, if a man was crying, you were a laughing stock, right? The comments would go crazy. No one would post that. It wouldn't even happen. And if an athlete was crying, everyone would talk crap about it. Now you have household name athletes crying when they win the Super Bowl or crying when they lose a game, and now it's applauded. So we're finally getting to a place where your message can actually have a bigger light without having the ridicule as before. And so the way I would make it bigger is just more and more people talking about it. You doing this podcast is the best way.
That's what the book. That's what I do the march. I wanna bring, because it's you're right. The crying and it's like opening up.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because even we as a man, we cannot even be vulnerable to our wives, because the society brings like if our your partner, depends which partner, but then the woman talks to her mom, is like, oh, he's a wuss, he's a like my father my entire life, like, don't cry, you don't be a pussy, don't be just like, dude, it's like men up. It's like, dude, when I hear the word men up and the movement of the alpha man, it drives me nuts. Because we both need, like, we as a man, we need masculine and feminine energy. That's what makes us human. And the men up shit, and it's like, the alpha man movement, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, it's I do not like it, because we are strong as a man, but the stronger we are, the more vulnerable we are, and we have both energy. So we know how to deal, how to communicate with the kids, with the employees, with wives, with people that love us. And you said something that really touched me with the men in the marina. I asked you, like, Dan, like, how did it happen? Like, and you said 5 years ago, I saw all those. Tell me the story, like, because I love it. Like, I just want people to hear it, because it touched me.
I was in a room full of guys that were big buff guys, tattoos on their neck, like just manly men, and they were crying. And they were talking to each other, and they were hugging each other and having real discussions about their situations and what they can't tell their wives, or what they can't tell their children, or what they can't do for their employees. And it was so deep and intense that I realized how important it was, because they had to do it behind closed doors. And I know once they leave those closed doors, it's unlikely they're going to talk about it. And so the idea for Man in the Arena was, those guys are in the arena. The guys with the tattoos on their neck, and the Navy SEALs, and the UFC fighters, and the business guys.
Because we fight all the time, Dan.
Exactly.
Like we still have a higher expectations. We're the provider. We're supposed to protect, and it's the high expectation, and we break.
And so I had the idea of, who are the guys that are in the arena? Like, who are those guys that are either famous, or business guys, or athletes, or characters that are helping other men? Who are those people that are out there and they're getting ridiculed, and they're in the arena, and their backs are full of bow and arrows and stabbings? Who are those guys? So I made this list. I made the concept of what the Man in the Arena tour would be like. And for years, I kept adding to it. But whenever I do an event or a company, I do it with a business partner. So if I started Operation Black Site, I do it with Bedros. If I'm going to start Man in the Arena tour, I was sitting at Garrett White's house, and I literally looked at him and I said, "You're the one." I didn't give any context. I've been there for 6 hours. A girl, a baby, we're just sitting there with his wife and kids, and all day long we're sitting there. And I was about to leave, and we're talking about something where he's talking about how he's coached 70,000 men. And I just looked at him, I said, "You're the one." And he didn't know what I was talking about. I pulled out my phone, I showed him the notes from Man in the Arena tour, and he was like, "I was literally just going to get back into the event space. I was doing them for many years, and I stopped. I wanted to get back into it." And so I whiteboarded out the entire Man in the Arena tour, and 100 days later, we filled up the Maverick Center Arena.
Dude, 100 days. And then you post about it. I'm like, I saw that. It's like 100 days. I was like, yeah. And it's funny, when I met him at the Vault conference like 3 years ago, at PBD conference, and we're sitting, me, Raul, and Gary were sitting, and he was talking how he is like, going through the journey and all this stuff, and he's like, out on this. And then it just like, sometimes it just like, we do the work, I always tell people, it's like, we want the results, like we want a shortcut, want to get somewhere quicker, but we got to stay consistent and just do the work. And then something would comes, like God will send you somebody or something, or some kind of door will open and then get you, to the right direction. So you got to be ready. So how did it go, the tour?
It was great. Yeah.
I have a lot of my friends there, just so you know, they loved it.
It was powerful.
There was like a lot of crying, a lot of emotional, a lot of feelings, a lot of breakthroughs, brother.
For
like
sure.
a lot. Tell me
Yeah,
how.
it was powerful. And it was watching Garrett conduct this event. It's a one-day conference. And for him to break them down and show them why they can talk to each other, why they need to be in groups like this, why they need to have very clear-cut discussions with their wives, children, employees, and people around them. Like, Garrett put on a show. It was amazing to watch. And the second it was done, we're like, let's book Miami. Let's book Phoenix. Let's book some more arenas. Let's do it as many times as we can next year. Like, let's go. Because we know it works. And I saw from my side, he was the one.
Mm-hmm.
He led that movement of men, and it was powerful. And now that we've proved that we can do it and we have that video content to show, look how we did in this arena, I think it's going to become massive. I know it's going to become massive.
Cool. So the next, tell me when is the next event? You already know the dates, right?
So September 6th, we'll do Miami.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do November, I don't know the exact date, but second week in November, on that, whatever that Saturday is, in Phoenix. And then for next year, we're going to go for every month.
No.
St. Louis and Dallas and all the obvious cities,
So you see, you're helping my mission too.
Yes.
Bring the mental awareness,
Absolutely.
to the it's because it's a real issue, and people are scared. And that's why, like, even in the podcast, then even like while I do my roles on the stories and everywhere else, like I'm always, even me personally, being in this space for the last 4 years. Like when I say mental health, it's like people like, you know what I mean? So I gotta use brain health, mindset, mind health, and all this stuff. So it's because there's still the stigma,
Right.
And I really want to break the stigma.
You doing what you're doing with the books and the podcast and the content is how you break it. You're already doing those things. And the more people you can bring to be part of that movement.
There's 8 billion people out there.
Yeah.
We gotta help this.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's like people on the mission. If they have the goal, they find it. And then the right people comes in.
Absolutely.
So what is next for you, brother?
I'm just throwing a bunch of events and investing in companies, and I'm gonna actually scale my events company even more. I threw 42 events last year. I'm throwing 42 events this year. And so I'm going to scale the event division and make them bigger and better and stronger. And, that's it. I'm all in on these events because it's working. Masterminds work, business events work, the charity events work. And so it's a tireless job. Like, it's nonstop work, and my fingers turn purple texting hundreds of people per city or thousands of people per city to make things work. But then I see it in action. When you see thousands of men there and they're in it, or you see thousands of kids at a toy drive and they're ecstatic. Like, when I see the results of my event, I'm addicted. Mm-hmm. That's what I meant by I'm addicted. I'm literally addicted to the toy drives because I see what happens to the kids. I'm addicted now to Man in the Arena Tour. I know what happens when you get those men in the room.
What advice would you give somebody that want to serve and that want to, it's a younger version of themselves, like finish college or that don't want to go to the college? Mm-hmm. How would you just help them out to figure it out? Because I have the question all the time. What advice would you give it to like 15 years old Jarek or 15 years old Dan? It's like, what advice would you give it to me with this, with the time that we're in right now?
It's very, 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 very easy to study and learn about something by immersing yourself in it. And so if I could go and intern for someone, like if you want to do clothing, you go intern for Damon John, who's done billions of dollars of clothing, or you want to throw big events, and you can go work for Tony Robbins or work for Dean Graziosi for free. I don't care about the money part. I'm sure people listening, oh, you got to get paid. If I'm 15 years old, I don't care. If I could learn from Tony about events or Dean about virtual events or Damon John about clothing, I would pay to work. Not only, right? I would pay to be there if I could. Yeah. Better than paying 30 grand in college, I'd pay 30 grand to be in the room. That's what masterminds are like, right? And so my answer is study everything about a topic. Like, be obsessed about it. That's what I do. Before I opened my sports card stores, I studied everything. Before I opened the acai bowl restaurants, I could tell you anything and everything about us. Like when I get into something, I study everything because you have it at your fingertips now. YouTube videos, podcasts from experts.
Yeah.
They're telling you everything.
Yeah.
You can read books about it, about everything. And so for the younger version of me or the younger version of you that's out there, literally consume all the content of the category that you want. If you love fashion or you love sports cards or you love sneakers or you love watches, you love cars, learn everything about cars. Research everything about the big car guys that are out there. Immerse yourself in it, and then if you have the opportunity, go work for them. And you'd be surprised. Not a lot of people apply to go work for them for free or for a cheap amount, or eventually you'll get a real job out of it too if you're good at what you do. But you'll also find out what you don't like. You might immerse yourself into a category, and you're like, I really want to do real estate, and maybe you don't like real estate. Or you might get immersed in cars, and you're like, maybe I should check real estate. You don't know until you actually try it. And so immerse yourself in learning podcasts, YouTube videos, social media content from the experts in your category.
I always tell people invest in yourself and surround yourself. Go to the seminar, go to masterminds, and just keep traveling. And I know it's expensive. So, but you can buy general tickets. Just and look for people and just network. And it's hard to not because like as a young kid, you don't have the value. But how do you do it? Like because then the next questions I get a lot of the questions is like, how do I pick the right person to follow? Because we have now a lot of people that are fake on the internet, and it's like, so how do you know and that you follow the right person, that you consume the right content?
Sure.
Because let's say when I start training for Ironman, then I didn't know shit. I bought $25,000 bike. Then I have to never use it because I wasn't fat, it wasn't this, so it was dumb. So then I have to buy a new bike. I have to get the bike fit. I didn't know how to train. I was an athlete, so it was easy for me. But then 2 years later, I could be an expert. I could be the Olympian coach, because I merged to it and I got everything. But how I started, I didn't know how. I didn't even know which coach to hire. There was coaches online, coaches, and when you don't know anything, when you're starting something new, you don't know how to ask questions because you don't know anything on the subject.
Yeah, so I just go down the rabbit hole. So I'm searching top 10 triathlon, top 10 Ironman. Who's the champion of Ironman? I just put in every different term on Google or ChatGPT. I just want to search everything of the top 10 in the category. And then I find out, who do I vibe with? Who do I like? There might be an Ironman champion, 7-time champion, but you don't really like their style. There might be someone that's like number 4 and they've won it a bunch. And then you're like, oh wait, but Jesse Itzler, well, he never won, but he went to all of them. Maybe I like his style. Oh wait, no, I like Mitch Thrower, who owns events.com. He's a 7-time champion. Let me follow it. Like, you don't know who you're gonna like until you go down the rabbit hole. And then you're gonna also be able to see the results. Right? There's a big difference between talking about it and being about it. There's plenty of people can talk about an Ironman competition. There's not that many that have a wall like you do of trophies, right? Very big difference. I know lots of guys that talk about it, but they don't have a wall. Like I can even count how many. There's dozens of trophies over there, right? So I keep seeing it in my corner of my eye. Like, and so can they back it up? Like, have they done it? There's a big difference about talking about things like that versus living and breathing it. You want to learn about a category. Have they done it? Damon John has done $4 billion in clothing sales. You can listen to him, right? Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, they've been on TV for 30, 40, 50 years. Yeah. You can listen to them, right? And by the way, not everything's going to be perfect and not everything's going to fit you, but I'll take the 94% from them or the 82% from them from anybody else on the planet. And so the way to figure it out, I call it taste it. Go taste it. Go taste this. Check out this person. Do you like their content? Go listen to this person. Read their book. Do you like their content? Do you like this person because they're a family man? Do you like this person because they're single? Do you like this person because they're what? You might, until you get into it, you don't know. And so the best way to figure out who they are, check the top 10 in your category, follow all 10 of them, check out their podcasts, check out their books, and you'll figure out who you resonate with.
Okay. I have another question that is, you said, and I can relate to that a lot, that we don't look at the money, we look at the energy, we have a vision and we go for it. And a lot of stuff, we are so hyper-focused and like work for free, do this stuff, and then the opportunities will show up. But how do you stay motivated? Because I know our brain works differently, right? But we also train our brains.
Sure.
So we just do it. Like even my office is like, 2 years ago, a year ago, this like you gotta stop this shit. Like this social media stuff. This is like number one, hyper focus. This is the most expensive habit you ever have in your life.
Sure.
You want to help. Like you right now, you're helping thousands, millions of people. You want to help a billion. I mean, we're gonna go broke, brother. It's like this shit's gotta stop. How do you disconnect that? I mean, because it's hard. For many people. For us, it's easier because it's a skill that we learn. But for younger generation or somebody that was always, let's say, had a job and was always rewarded for the work they do, and suddenly you have to do the work without the reward. That's what I mean, the financial reward.
Sure.
How do you break your mindset to just? Well, I just want to hear from you. Like, I have my.
Nothing is fast in business. Okay. Nothing is fast in the entrepreneurial community, and anything that is goes away quickly. And so, when I talk about these things, I've been doing this for 25 years. You've been doing this for decades, and so. There is no fast forward version to own thousands of real estate units. There's no fast forward version to get into 55,000 stores like my drinks were in. Math and time compounds. And so you are planting seeds. When you're learning stuff, you're planting seeds. When you're taking action, you're planting seeds. You want to go win an Ironman, what do you got to do? You got to work out every single day and practice the Ironman. There's no skipping because you read a book or listened to a podcast and go win the Ironman competition. It doesn't happen. I don't care if you're a genetic freak. You're not going to go beat the people that train. And so I don't have an answer for fast forward. I know that every single day, if you take action, you are not necessarily going to get money for it. You're planting seeds for the future. Do you know how many times I spoke for free at events? Hundreds. Why not? Guess what? Sometimes things happen. Sometimes I get social media content. Sometimes I make a connection, and sometimes nothing happens. I speak for an hour and I leave, and I never hear from them again. And other times I make a friendship or make a deal, and now they become my best friend. I don't know. But my point is, I'm going to do it over and over and over and over and over and over, and I'm going to beat my competition because I'm always going to be in the room. I'm going to be at all the events.
Dude, I got the events not only for free, then I fly my plane. It cost me like $100,000 to get there.
Right, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I still do it because, if I help one person and, it fulfills my goal to help people. And that's the most important. You touched something else. You said the word compound. Can you go deeper on it? Because this is huge. Like we do the work, and suddenly, it's like we hit the stagnation, and it's your podcast. I mean, it's my podcast, but I want to pick your brain. So
So the way I explain it is, math and time compounds. If you take action, which is the math, and you do it over and over and over, let's call it 365 days a year. If you do 3 sales calls a day, that's 1,000 times a year. So math. 3 times time, 365, equals compounding. 1,000 sales calls a year. Do you think you're going to close 10 or 20 deals? Yes. I think you're going to close 50 to 100 deals. And what if you do it on year 2? And what if you have another person, a sales rep, do it also? And then you have 4 sales reps. And now all of a sudden there's 4,000 sales calls a year happening. What's going to happen to your business? Math and time compounds. If you make sales calls or you do social media posts or you DM people or you text people, and you do it every single day, 3 or 4 times a day, that means that it happens 1,000 times a year, and all of a sudden, 5 years go by, you took 5,000 actions, 5,000 sales calls, 5,000 DMs, math and time compounds.
It's funny, and it's like the compound also, it's like you break it in a year, but sometimes like we don't see it, it's suddenly, how does that happen?
Right,
you know what I mean?
Hockey stick.
Exactly, so going back again to me and to other people, if it comes to mental health, when people are struggling and people are going, because they don't know how to deal with the issues, how would you suggest? How would you like give advice to somebody? Listen, because a lot of times people find the reason, and you and I know, and I don't personally, it's a bullshit reason because I create this demon voices in my head. When somebody's struggling with the business, what advice would you give them?
If you focus on the solution, it will help make it feel much better. There's a saying that I have is, don't sit on the floor and cry about it. Mm-hmm. If you sit on the floor and cry about your problems, and you attract to the people to your problems, and you tell everybody about your problems, well, that's what they're all going to think about. That's what they're all talk about. That's what they're going to gossip about. That's what they're going to tell their friends and coworkers about, is your problems. No one actually cares about your problems.
I love how you said it. Also, the pilot theory is like the pilot freaks out, and then when you freaked out, that's who you attract.
Exactly. And so what I do is, and I'll give you, I'll give you a real life example. I had my Victory Poker, my online poker site. April 19th, 2011, I'm about to get millions of dollars at a $65 million valuation. I'm grossing millions of dollars a month. I have 5 employees. I'm living in Malta by myself. Everything sounds amazing. I got Dan Bilzerian, Steve Aoki, Playboy Playmates, Poker Pros. I rented out a whole entire resort in Costa Rica, April 19th. Okay, I rented out the resort. I got millions of dollars coming in that day. Everything is set. April 15th at 10:10 a.m., the FBI shuts down online poker in America. The federal government seizes billions of dollars from my competitors, not from me. I don't get in trouble. And all of a sudden, the entire poker market is shut down, and the FBI owns PokerStars, Full Tilt, Absolute Poker. I have a decision to make. I can sit on the floor and cry about it, or do what I did. I manually paid back 41,000 players, manually, one by one, processing to their credit cards, which is very hard to do now. Imagine 14 years ago. I did 82 interviews from ESPN to the local random newspaper, like everywhere, explaining I'm paying everybody back. My competitors are not. I'm going to be the good guy in this space. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure everyone gets their money back, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what the government's going to do. And by being busy and not crying about it, guess what happened? I become the good guy in the space. I get hired by 4 land-based casinos. I get hired by Charles Schwab and Morgan Stanley to consult for them. And I build my life back up. I lost $65 million overnight. And it was the best thing that ever happened to my career.
Did you guys hear that? He lost $65 million overnight. And he used this pain, used as a fuel, did not panic, just went and rebuilt it immediately. Walk me through. I want to talk about the night. Walk me through what happened in your head. I mean, come on. It's now to tell the story 15 years later. It's easy to say because, you know what I mean? But walk me through the emotions, the feelings when, it's boom.
I went into fix-it mode that morning. It was 10:10 a.m. Dan Bilzerian called me. Like, where are you? And I was like, I'm at the Bellagio. I have a meeting with a billionaire at 12 o'clock. And this guy's name was Jarek Tadla. He invented, he had the slot machine loyalty cards. Mm-hmm. He had the rights to Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune slot machines. Mm-hmm. He was the legend. He sold for $440 million, just one division of his company. And at 12 o'clock, I flew from Malta to meet with this guy. At 12 o'clock, April 15th. I'll never forget it.
But you didn't know that all this stuff happened.
No, it happened at 10:10 a.m. At 12 o'clock is my meeting.
Okay.
So it's April 15th. It's called Black Friday. So that's the famous day. It's called Black Friday for online poker. So 10:10 a.m. I get the phone call. I'm at the Bellagio and I turn on TV and there it is. Boom. FBI seizes Full Tilt, PokerStars, Absolute Poker, billions of dollars. 12 o'clock, I walk into the Hard Rock Hotel. I'm supposed to be excited for this meeting, but everyone's calling my phone. I'm trying to figure out what to do. I got 41,000. I have hundreds of thousands of players, but 41,000 I know are going to have to be manually returned because when I ask people to withdraw, they have to either withdraw or I have to return it for them. So I'm just thinking about the process. I'm calling my employees. I'm calling people. 12 o'clock, I walk in the Hard Rock Hotel, and Edward says, "You look like somebody died."
No shit, I just lost $65 million overnight.
And I said, a whole industry died. Turn on the TV. So he turns on TV, and there it is on ESPN. Online poker shut down, FBI, federal, blah, blah, blah. They're just saying all the things. And I still don't know everything that's going on. I don't know why they got shut down yet, by the way. I'm just trying to figure out how do I pay everybody back because it says that they seized all their bank accounts. Well, if they seized my bank account, I can't pay anybody back. I only have one bank account. They had in 16 different countries. I just had Wells Fargo. I had KPMG accounting, Wells Fargo. And so he calls Steve Wynn and puts him on speakerphone. Steve Wynn is screaming bloody murder because he just announced recently, right before that, a huge deal with Full Tilt Poker. He's like, how did my lawyers not know? How could this is huge. You can't have a federal investigation against your business partner when you're a casino.
Yeah.
And so what was funny was Edward actually set up for me. He thought I was coming there, he planned for me to come there to teach 11 sheriffs from California how to play poker and blackjack. And so downstairs in the casino, which is what I had to go do for the next 4 hours, from 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock, was teach the sheriffs how to play poker and blackjack. Meanwhile, I feel like I'm public enemy number one. I don't know what's going to happen. Everyone else is getting arrested. Everyone else is getting seized. And I'm like hanging out with the sheriff's department, literally playing poker and blackjack. And one of them kept messing with me, kept tapping his handcuffs. He's like, yeah, I got eyes on him. He just kept joking because I told him the story. I told everybody what was going on. And just in case they heard it, I'd rather me say it first, right? So I told them all the situation about what happened to my competitors. I showed them my site. I said, look, their site says seized by the FBI. My site is perfectly fine, just to be clear. And so next 4 hours, I'm training them poker and I'm trying to look at my phone because everyone's calling me. And the entire time, all I'm trying to think about is how to fix it. Not, oh, woe is me, not, I'm going to cry, oh, I'm going to shoot myself in the head. I'm not thinking about the bad part of it. Like, I didn't sit on the floor and cry about it. Mm-hmm. So if I did that, it was really easy to blame everybody else. Oh, my competitors messed this up. The government messed this up. The FBI messed this up. Everyone else messed this up. Well, the scoreboard is on me. Doesn't matter how the game ended, how we got here. The scoreboard is a scoreboard. The game is over. That's it. Online poker doesn't exist in America. And so I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay everybody back immediately. So as soon as that 4 o'clock was over, I drove over to Panorama Towers and sat with my guy Mo, who's helped me with the website. And we sat there and started figuring it out. How do we manually pay everybody back? Called the other 4 employees, got everybody to come over. And for 4 days, and by the way, our last repayment was April 19th. The day I'm supposed to get millions of dollars. I'm supposed to be with Playboy models in Costa Rica. None of that happened. I was paying people back sitting on the floor. And the reason I was doing those 82 interviews is I wanted to spread the message to the world. Withdraw your money from every poker site that has an America, that's attached to America. And you can
so you were in the middle of the storm and you were still helping others.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And because I did that and not sit on the floor and cry about it, I never had regret or thought about how, oh shit, I just lost $65 million overnight. It never crossed my mind. I just had to do everything I could to fix the situation. And by doing that, I moved on. Because by the week after that, I started doing consulting gigs. I started getting asked to work with all these big companies and casinos. Like, life moved on. I started my charities. I started a Model Citizen Fund. I started all these things. All these things were, I was scaling all my charity stuff and scaling my business stuff and started angel investing after the
Did you do it as a distraction or you just find like, suddenly this chapter is closed. I have more freedom and more time to invest in myself.
It's very similar if you go through a breakup. Like,
walk me through it.
If you go through a breakup, it's very easy to sit at home and cry for the next few months. I don't want to leave the house. I want to eat bonbons and popcorn and watch bad movies and TV shows and soap operas and hide under the blankets. And I don't want to talk to anybody.
Or just drink or get just shit faced.
Alcohol, drugs. It's very easy to just hide and cry, sit on the floor and cry about it. Compared to, you get your friends together, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, your guys, your friends together. Let's go to the restaurant, or let's go to the bar, or let's go dancing, or let's go. You get back out there, guess what? Tuesday becomes Thursday, Thursday becomes Sunday.
You can't then, it's so hard. It's so hard because what happened is, like, I know, but it's hard. Yep. Like this is like, you see, you do say you rewire differently because it's like, it's easier to yes. But it's like when you're going through the process, how do you walk
I don't go through the process. That's exactly right. I don't go through the process of loss or pain. I immediately try to fix the situation. I immediately try to distract myself and I immediately become busy. I don't allow myself to go through the process of the fact that I just lost this girl or I just lost this person or this person just died. I go into fixing it. Or I go into the
Do you have any empathy for Dan Fleyshman? Do you love yourself?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know the answer. I think about it all the time. Okay. There's sometimes I feel bad for feeling numb or being numb to situations. Like right now, I look at my phone and someone passed away, I wouldn't start crying. And I did before. The first 4 or 5 people that passed away, I was very emotional about it. And then a turning point happened. It's kind of when I don't want to call it toughened up because that's not what it meant. It's that I realized that I couldn't fix those situations. And so instead, I was like, how can I be proactive? And so I would call everybody else. I'd help plan the funeral. I'd help the procession. Every funeral I've gone to, by the way, I've dug every single grave. We know where in the Jewish ones, you put the dirt in. And so I would never leave until that was done, and that was my distraction. I would make sure that everyone was part of the digging process, and then I would fill up the rest. Even if it took me an hour and a half while everyone's going to eat the lunch, I would still be doing it. And so there's some parts of me that's upset with myself or mad at myself or wondering why I don't have the emotion to it anymore. And I don't like that I don't have emotion to it. It's that it's happened 39 times. And to me, that could be a fault. That could be something is wrong or a screw's loose. But that part of it to me it's reality that I don't have the emotions to it. And at some point I did. And I am empathetic when someone says that they lost something or they're crying or they're upset that they broke up with their boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife. I am understanding why they're going through it. But in my world, in my life, I know that I can't fix that situation for myself. I can't bring someone back from the dead. I'm not going to bring this relationship back. I'm not going to bring this business back. If there's a failure like Victory Poker, those things that happen, when they are finite for sure, I'm immediately into fixing mode or scaling mode or replacing mode. Because if I sit on the floor and cry about it.
So this is what what I'm getting goosebumps. That's what get me my entire life. And then when I have this ski accident like 8 years ago, that's when I ran into Raul. Suddenly I have to deal with my own stuff, my own legs, my own hands, my own. I was laying in the hospital for 6 months.
Of course.
And I was like alone. I was put to freaking like frozen to the bed.
Sure.
I couldn't escape. I couldn't get out of the bed. I couldn't I was shit underneath, have to call the nurse or or my wife to serve me.
Yep.
And I was alone with my own thoughts. And this was the first time that I realized, holy shit, I don't know how to deal with that because I have zero. I was numb. I have zero emotional attachment, but that's what it works in the businesses, because it's like you said, I lost $65 million. Okay, what next?
Right next.
I just take, and it's a distraction. Suddenly, then I couldn't distract myself.
Yeah.
I'm stuck, and what happened is, and the problem is, they sedating me because I have all this stuff going on, so they sedating me, so I'm a fucking loopy, and I don't like this shit because I'm addict, but not, let's say, not to painkillers, not to I'm addict to the healthy stuff, and I was stuck, and what happened is it became like my rabbit hole. I couldn't get out of it, so I that was my wake up call. Yeah. That's why I started, and I was like, I wasn't that close with Tony because I was with Tony Robbins since 2002. And it's funny, I was sitting next to Steve Wynn when Tony did the first business seminar, and I didn't even know it's Steve Wynn. Right. I didn't even know, and he talked to me when we did the exercises. That I didn't even know who he is. And then Tony's like, okay, come on the stage. So I was like, Jesus, So yeah. It's like, but I it's really to me, this was the first wake up call.
Yeah.
But it definitely helped me with everything businesses. But when I went to but the ski accident helped me with the breakup, because I did exactly what you said. Well, I went 1 week for close myself in the house, get shit faced, and then it's like, I'm done. You know what I mean? And just went, started call the friends, a lot of poker. Yep. We play poker every day.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I did not touch alcohol because, I have to concentrate on the divorce. Yep. I have to get my kids back. I have to get, protect my assets and protect everything. So it definitely helps me. But I think, what would be the skills to somebody, because it's easier to, it took me years to step out of my body and give myself advice. And how do you advise yourself? Because sometimes, we have so much shit going on. There's nobody can give us advice but ourselves.
Right.
And we got to look at it from a different perspective. How do you do it?
I'm watching it all. I'm writing it all down. I'm engaging and interacting with all the people that are involved in it. And so it's a constant analyzation of what's happening.
What do you mean you're writing? You have a journal, or you're writing?
No, notes on my phone.
Okay.
So I have a group chat for every event. I have a group chat for every charity, a group chat for every business, and a group chat for every investment. So every deal that I have in my life, I have a group chat for. And then in my notes, I have a notes section for everything I just said. And that allows me to do is someone says, hey, I'm going to have this done by Friday. Okay, I might put it in my notes. Hey, it's going to take $150,000 for this thing. I'll put it in my notes. I'm using my notes and my group chats as my back and forth. And when I'm interacting with the people I mentioned earlier, the CEO, the best friend, the people, those people that are involved, my older brother, those people are the ones that I'm having the reflection with, because they're telling me, hey, this business is doing 1.6 million, but it's losing on this, and this is too high, and the rent is too high over here. Hey, this company's doing $15 million, but you're actually losing $1 million because this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And so the people that are around me or that are inside of my inner circle is how I'm reflecting, because they're the mirror. They're my mirror to myself. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that can tell me, and I want them to tell. And I always tell them, be as blunt as you can. Don't sugarcoat for me. Don't hide from me. When I'm throwing my events, if someone's trying to break in or someone got into a fight or something, the restroom's broken, tell me every problem. I do want to know every problem because I want to fix it. I will never be mad at you, even if you're the one that did it. I want to fix it. I don't care about blaming this or blaming that. I want to fix it. Now, listen, we're going to fix it for you for the next event too. So I'm not saying you're not going to get in trouble for it, but the trouble is for you to be not a slap on the wrist, but for you to fix it for the future so it doesn't happen again. I always say, don't apologize, just fix it. I don't need your apology. I need to fix it. If right now you broke the glass on the floor, what would I do? I would beat everybody in the room to clean it up. We're going to fix it. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm so sorry I broke the glass. No, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to clean it up. And even my hands are bloody, I'm going to clean it up for you. And so my self-reflection is actually the reflection in the mirror of the people that are around me. My very, 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 very small, like one hand. It's basically 5 people.
I'm going to go back to the pilot, because we're the pilots of our own life.
For sure.
Right? And let's say we do panic. And I personally, like, I'm guilty of it. I panic inside, but then I really maybe that's why I was also a good poker player, and my entire life I have the mask on. So I'm good. Like, I'm in the panic mode, like right here. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you don't ever want to negotiate with me because like I have no attachment. So like what happens, whatever happens, it's like it's supposed to be like that. How do you keep your poker face? I know you play poker. Yeah. I know this. The poker face is on. But this is like for me, I think the bigger problem, I just want to hear from you.
So my poker faces, I also will imagine what I want to have. So there's some hands I actually play that way. I don't look at my cards.
Talking about live right now, I know.
It's the same concept.
Same concept.
So when I'm in situations that are really, really bad, I'm very, very blunt when the person needs to have the information. If they don't need to have the information and it's only going to hurt them or they're going to go gossip about it, I don't tell them. And so oftentimes I'll have people say, oh, how was the event? I'm not telling about the bad stuff that happened in the back room or the merchant account was frozen or Ticketmaster took too long to pay this. Like, why do I need to tell them that stuff so they can go gossip about it? I tell them about the good things or I tell them about the things that I want them to go gossip about. But in the background, I'm fixing it. I'm figuring out how to fix it. Okay, Ticketmaster took too long. How do we fix that? What do they need? How do I make it faster? Oh, the merchant account froze. We did too many sales on this merchant account. All right, let's have a backup merchant account in case that happens. Oh, there's supposed to be 6 tables there. There's only 4. How do we do that? Who messed up there? Like, I'm just always in fix-it mode. And the people that need to know, I tell them. And I'm very blunt about it. And if they don't need to know or they can't help with the situation, I tell them what I want them to hear.
Good. Last question. Your superpower.
My superpower is my cell phone. I can do anything from my cell phone. I can go raise $10 million. I can go get a dinner reservation. I can go have mermaids in your pool. By tonight, I'll have 3 mermaids there and fire breathers. Like, I can do anything I want from my cell phone because of relationships and connections. And so my superpower is literally my thumbs on my cell phone.
Okay, last question. We are fixers, right? We are men. We're all in relationship right now, both of us. How do you, because women, they want to fixers. They want to, they want to vent, they want to listen. Mm-hmm. That's for me, brother. Give me advice. How do I turn on my fixing mode? Do shut the fuck up. Yes. It's like, just listen. Just give me that.
My answer is shut up and listen. They don't want you to fix it. They want to vent about their girlfriend. They want to vent about the waiter said something. They want to vent about the guy that walked by and stared at them or the neighbor that did this. they don't actually want you to fix it. They want to vent about it, and they want to then call 5 other friends and tell them the same story for the next 5 hours. They just shut up and listen.
That's not easy, bro.
I understand. Because our rational brain's like, oh, I can do this. Oh, I can do this. No, they actually don't care. They don't want to really fix it. Because if they fixed it, then they got to find a new problem to talk about. They got to find a new thing to talk about. So I just, I allow them to talk. And by the way, if you shut up and listen, you become the best boyfriend or the best husband or the best friend to someone. Even if you don't say a word, they just want to vent. And they just want to feel heard and they want to feel seen. Just shut up and listen.
There you go. That's how we're going to end the podcast. Then when people can find you, and we're going to put the links, but tell everybody where can find you.
All my social media is the same across every single platform. It's just at Dan Fleyshman, and you guys should do the same thing. Same screen name across every single platform. My bio is the same on every platform, the same shirt on every platform. Make sure you look the same across every platform.
Okay. Thank you, brother. Thank you very much.
That
was amazing, man.
Thank you for listening. Leave your comments and subscribe for more insights on mastering the inner and outer wealth.